enjoyed last video. Now we will move forward to study limit and function. New term, function. Okay. I have written one important statement about limit. You can apply limit for continuous change only. What is continuous change? There are two types of changes, continuous change and discontinuous change. Example, your scheme of marks is discontinuous change. Means suppose 1 mark question, then you will get 1 mark or 0 mark. Sometimes we give half mark if some important terms is included in that definition or in that concept. Generally teacher gives half mark, but you can't say sir I have written small, then you can give 0.1 mark, 0.01 mark. No, that's why it is discontinuous. Take one more example. Suppose I have to take mangoes. For 12 mangoes, suppose 300 rupees is rate, dozen rate. Then for 1 mango it will be 25 rupees, correct? Okay. Then half mango 12.5. Then 1 by 25th mango means you have to slice, and generally you ask for this mango what will be the rate? No, because it is not continuous, it is discontinuous. Means every time you can't take this limit, because limit, the requirement for limit is continuous change. For discontinuous you can apply simple algebra, simple arithmetic, no problem. For calculus there must be change continuous. Okay, and I have explained in last video. For limit there must be function, otherwise you can't apply limit. Means now you must know function, which is the last term before entering integration and differentiation. What is function? Function means, actually dictionary meaning is action, or you can say work. We are Indians, there are number of functions throughout the year. Wedding function, birthday function, Ganpati function, Daihandi function, number of functions. But that function cannot be included in mathematics. This Daihandi process cannot be included in mathematics, because function, actually function gives continuous change. Continuous change. Any function gives continuous change. Then actually what is function then for mathematics? Function is tool. It is a tool. You can say mathematical tool to describe real world in mathematical terms. Means your integration derivative is related to real world, your life, your world. It is not only included in mathematics book. Function is tool to describe real world, any real process. If it is function, then can be put in the terms of mathematics. I will give one example. Squaring in mathematics is a simple process of squaring. 2 into 2, 3 into 3, 3 square. Squaring is function. Squaring is function. Square root, function. Taking sine of angle, sine theta, is function. Taking logarithm of any variable x, that is function. Any function. Means function gives change. What change? Suppose I have written y is equal to x square. Then y and x both are variables. Both are variables. But we will decide, we generally means you, what will be the value of x. Y cannot decide the value. Y had to follow the function, follow the rule, squaring rule. Means suppose x we have put 0, y will say 0. if x you have put 1, y will say 1 square means 1. Suppose you put x is equal to 2, then y will say x is equal x square means 2 4. Suppose you put x is equal to 3, then y will say 3 square means 9. Means y have no chance to decide its own, you can say, opinion. That is called dependent. It depends on something. It depends on other value. That is called dependent. Who is independent? X is independent. Some of you will say, no, x is not independent. I will decide. Means it depends on me. Yes, that is correct. X depends on you, but y depends on x. That's why for those y and x, you can say x is independent, y is dependent for this squaring. In physics, in real life, how we can apply this function? One example I have given for this one, squaring. Area of circle is function of radius of circle. Means what? Area of circle depends on radius of circle. How? By one function. That function is called squaring, because you know the formula area of circle pi r square. Means you are squaring the radius. Means r is independent function. You are squaring that independent function. Then that area of circle have no chance to follow the rule pi r square. Means a is function of r. Area of circle is function of radius of circle. Area of circle depends on radius by this rule, squaring rule. That is function. You can observe here. As radius increases, that independent increases, dependent has to increase. That is dependent. This depends, area depends on radius. That is function. Now, my statement was any real process can be function. Then one more function I have taken for you. Marks are function of what? See the list. Marks depends on what? Study time? Yes. How much time you have given for study? Marks depends on grasping capacity, your grasping capacity. Marks depends on concentration while studying, while learning. Marks depends on teaching method. Sometimes there may be communication gap between teacher and student. It may affect marks. Marks depends on mind condition while giving exam. Marks depends on writing skill. How to write, that is skill. It is skill. It is not knowledge, but it is skill. And marks depends on time management. Means marks are functions of these. Then can we say marks are function of study time? Means you can include in mathematics this? We can. Not now, but in future maybe. By nanotechnology, by femtotechnology, there may be chances of study of all these variables at limiting value, very small value. Then you would be able to determine your marks before date of exam declared. Means there would be no exam, still you will get marks. What an idea. Okay, but it may happen. Remember my words. And after getting all these, means function and limit, now we can enter in new brilliant colorful area of calculus. Means that is the actual story, actual picture, actual movie. But these are the supporting terms. These are very important terms. Without these terms, you can't able to get that differentiation and integration actually. Okay. Now, before entering this differentiation and integration, I have shown limiting process, which is very important for these two processes. What is limiting process? Limiting process means it is going towards one particular value. Which value? In this case, that value is 0 in integration. That will be explained later. Okay. In this case, suppose I want slope of any line. In this case, I have drawn these lines parallel to each other. Okay. Means this is our graph. Means that is the reality. Means y depends on x. You can say y is equal to x square, anything. Okay. But it depends on square or cube root. This graph, this green color graph is not graph of y is equal to 2ax, y equal to 3x, because it is having curve. Means it increases, this increases faster than this increases. You can observe as x increases, y increases, as x increases, y increases. But you can observe as x increases slightly, y increases very fast. Now, take any 2 point, suppose for example, okay, and draw one line that is called secants. If this secant which cuts this graph at these 2 points, and I want slope of this graph, then you know what is slope? It is change in y divided by change in x, means y2 minus y1, this distance, upon x2 minus x1, this distance, that is slope I want. But all graphs are parallel to each other, means all graph will show same slope. Now this red color line is not secant, it is converted into tangent, because it is not cutting this graph at 2 points, it is cutting at 1 point. But this 1 point having basically no change, 1 point has never changed, 1 point is 1 point. Means at particular point you will not get speed of any vehicle if you have not taken 2 adjacent points to count the speed, because for speed distance is required, whatever the small distance is required. At point you can't find out, you can approximate by taking very small distance, but there must be change in position, and for that change time must be required, then you will get speed. At particular point you can't find, there is speed but you can't find out. That is the problem Archimedes had got. Now that's why I have taken 2 known points. These are 2 known points having some values, okay, and I am approximation, means I am decreasing the value, decreasing the length of secant to particular point. At this point that length becomes 0, means this slope and this slope having same magnitude. Then we can say this tangent has some slope at this point, at x. That's why I have written reality, means graph touches red line at x, means this independent variable is at x point. Means suppose you are accelerating your motorcycle at this point, means suppose it is 150 meter from origin, and you are increasing your speed. This is speed, suppose y axis is speed. Then at 150 meter you will get speed, that speed is represented by this y. Then what is the differentiation? This is differentiation. You got speed at this point, you got speed at this point, at particular point, and it is represented as, suppose it is speed and this is distance. Otherwise general format will be y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. This is called slope. This is slope. But you have to take any 2 points. For any line you can obtain slope. Now for this point, suppose you want slope, then take any point on this red color line, any 2 points, and find out y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. This is called differentiation. This is called derivative. But generally it is represented as dy by dx. Why it is d? D is difference. Difference in y upon difference in x. It is not compulsory for every time that d is small. Generally teacher says d is small. D is not small. Can be taken as small for clarity, for correct answer. Means approximation, means limit. That's why generally we say d is small. Okay. Now this is called derivative, and it is represented by dy by dx, not by me, by that scientist who published the book on calculus first. Means not Newton, Leibniz. These symbols, this notation taken by Leibniz. Also symbol for integration, it is the extended s. Actually it is summa, summation from Latin, and he has taken this extended s. Actually it is s, no, it is summation, but it is extended and it becomes integration sign by Leibniz. Newton's notation, Newton's symbol were different, okay, and was not accepted because Leibniz book was published first. That's why. Okay, now this is dy by dx, no problem. This is slope, no problem. This is change in y with respect to x, no problem. This is y is function of x at this point. Means at particular point, suppose you want the change in dependent variable, you have to find out slope by this method. Means you will get derivative. Speed is derivative. Derivative of what? Distance with respect to time. Means in this direction you have to take time. Here you can take distance, then you will get as distance increases. Last time I have taken speed. As speed is increasing, you can take distance, any. Speed is increasing with respect to time, distance is increasing with respect to time. Any variable can be dependent on any other variable. Any variable, any physical quantity. My temperature is increasing, means it is because of something is going wrong inside my body. Means it depends on something, maybe some bacteria, virus. That is the case. Means in medical science, for cancer patient also, this derivative integration concepts are applied today. Means those students who are leaving mathematics because of the NEET, medical science, don't leave mathematics. You may get less mark, no problem, but you must know what is actually this mathematics, because it is useful for your medical science also. Okay. Now this is the limiting. It becomes very small, very small, very small, very small. So that is the limit. It tends to 0. It is called tends to 0, and it is represented. This limiting process is represented as limit. Actually, it is short form. Actually, limit. It is not written. It is lim, limit. Limit of what? We are decreasing the value. Which value? X or y? We are decreasing x value. x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1, x2 minus. We are decreasing x value. That's why we have to write x tends to 0. In proper way, it must be dx tends to 0. Tends to 0 means tending towards 0. Means that our infinitesimal value. Remember. Okay. You can't imagine infinitesimal. You can imagine very, 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 very small. Okay. Of what? Limit delta x tends to 0 of what? Of dy by dx. Means for any dy, for any dx, you can write here and go to this process, limiting process. Means you have to come in this side continuously. When dx becomes 0, you have to stop and it will be tangent. Similarly, we will see what will happen to integration. Here we get slope, and slope is nothing but the derivative. Remember, slope is nothing but the derivative. In trigonometry, in 10th standard, you might have studied, you might have learned that tan theta. What is tan theta? It is opposite side upon adjacent side for right angle triangle, and slope is nothing but again dy upon dx. Means this tan theta can be considered as slope if theta is taken with x axis by tangent. Tan theta is slope means derivative. What is differentiation and what is derivative? Same, slight difference is there. Derivative is noun, differentiation is verb. Means we can say process of finding derivative is called differentiation. Okay. Now actually the problems, examples, means y is equal to sin x. Derivative of y with respect to x is cos x. Why? How? We will see later. Okay. Now we will see limiting process for integration. Okay. Now for integration, actually meaning of integration is integrating, means collecting. And what is derivative? It is rate of change with respect to someone. Something is changing with respect to something. Means your vehicle is covering distance with respect to time. That is derivative. Here we have to integrate. What to integrate? Integration is exactly opposite to differentiation. You can say they are differentiation and integration are the opposite process. That's why integration is sometimes called anti-derivative or anti-differentiation. Okay. Now in this case, here we want slope, here we want total area. But it doesn't mean integration gives only area. Integration gives area, length, volume, money, all things, marks, everything. Means you are integrating, means you are collecting. Okay. But in this case I have taken area, simple. How to find out this area? Suppose this graph is for this function, squaring function. Now you can remember, you can recall that is squaring function. This is graph of squaring function. I want this area from 0 to this point. I want area. How to find out? There is no formula in algebra then, or in geometry then you can make very small slices. Why? Very small, infinitesimal small, because we know simple formula of rectangle. That's why. What is the area of rectangle? Length into breadth, simple formula. For this case, suppose I have taken this particular example, this slice having breadth dx, you can write here dx, and what is the length? The length is y. I have taken y. This is the small area of this small rectangle. This y actually is changing for this point and this point, because dx is not 0. There are 2 points x1, x2, but they are infinitesimal small. That's why we can take y for first x and for second x. This is the area. How many rectangles are there? I don't know, you don't know, Newton and Leibniz didn't know. That's why they integrated. How? By simple method of integration. This is called integration. You have total area. This is area of small, and this is total area. You can put the value of y, exponent of y here, then it will become integration of x square dx. This is integration. You will get total area. This is the formula. But your question may be like this one. What is the answer of this? That we will see in next video, because that is another different process. Means we will create formula and we will apply to our examples of area of circle, any example. You take example, you can apply in your home. You can derive formula. That will be magic. And you will enjoy, you can enjoy. Without enjoyment, don't study mathematics. First, don't leave mathematics. Till then, I will enjoy and you should enjoy. Thank you. Take care.